What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can create a content writing agency's onboarding system using make.com. Let's get started. I'm using monday.com as my project management tool, and on Monday, I've created a board and renamed it to content writing clients. After we have collected our clients via a type form, we have set up an automation that automatically adds the clients to our project management tool. So here is where we are adding all those leads and clients that we are collecting. Now that we have our clients right here, we can begin the process of onboarding them to our agency. One of the status that I have for each of our clients is onboard. For our onboarding system, I'll create a webhook that will be triggered after we've changed one of our clients' status to onboard. So here, I'll search for webhooks, then click on create a webhook. I'll click on add and then rename our webhook right here to onboarding. And then click on save. And then here, I'll copy the link of this webhook and then click on OK. Now, on Monday, I'll click on integrate. And then I'll click on webhooks. I'd like to send a webhook when the status of one of our clients changes to something. So I'll use this as our template. Here, I'll use another account and paste the URL that we just copied right here. Now, on automation, I'll run our webhook. Then on Monday, I'll click on connect. Here it says fail to communicate with the URL provided. So we'll need to return this challenge text using a webhook response. So here, I'll search for webhooks, then click on webhook response. Then here, I'll return this challenge text right here. Then click on OK. Now I'll run our webhook again. Then on Monday, I'll click on connect. You can see it is accepted. So I'll delete the response since we no longer need it. And then on Monday, I'll proceed to set up a webhook. So I like to send our webhook when the status changes to onboard, and then click on create automation. Now let us test if our webhook is working perfectly. So I'll run our webhook. Then on Monday, I'll change the status of one of our clients to onboard. You can see right here that it's working perfectly. And we are getting the specific client whose status we just changed. But unfortunately, we're not getting more data about the specific client. We're only getting their name. We're not getting information like their phone number, email, or their first and last name. To get all their data, I'll copy this pulse ID, and then on Monday, I'll search for get an item module, then click on get an item. Yeah, you'll need to create a connection between Monday and make.com by clicking on add and then renaming your connection and adding your API key right here. For the API key, you'll get your API key after you've clicked your profile and then click on administration, then connection, and then API. And here you'll get your API token. All you have to do is copy it. Then on Monday, paste your API key right here. But since I had already created a connection right here, I'm going to close it and then choose the right connection over here. For the ID, I'm going to add the Pulse ID. And for the board, I'm going to add our content writing clients board. So here, I'll search for content writing clients and then click on OK. I'll run this module by pasting the Pulse ID that we just copied from our webhook and then clicking on OK. Now you can see we are getting their data right here. So we're getting their first and last name. We're also getting their company name, their email, and their phone number right here. Now that we have the information, we can proceed to set up our onboarding system. Now, with their data, we can proceed and create a folder on our Google Drive for our specific client. So here, I'll search for Google Drive and then click on create a folder. And then here, we're going to choose our drive location, which is my drive. Then the folder location, I'll choose a homepage. And then here we can give our folder's name. And we can use the name of our client as their folder name and then click on OK. So here I'll rename this to clients folder and then click on OK. After creating their folder, I'm going to get an onboarding checklist that we're going to send to our client. On Google Drive, I have created a folder called onboarding, and on this folder, I have this onboarding checklist on my Google Drive. So this is a checklist that I would like to send to our client. So here on Google Drive, I'll search for files and folders. Here I'm going to choose our folder which is onboarding. Then I'm going to retrieve files and folders. I'm going to perform a full text search. I'll just write the name of our document, which is onboarding checklist, and you can limit it to 1, and then click on OK. We're getting the onboarding checklist right here. So I'll rename this to onboarding checklist, then click on OK. Now I'm going to create a link for the checklist and send it to our client via email. So on Google Drive, I'll search for get a share link, and then here I'll add our file ID, which is this file ID of our document right here. The role you can either choose owner, writer, commenter, or reader. I'll choose reader as our role. For the type, I'll say anyone with a link, and then click on OK. So for this folder, I'll rename it to checklist link, then click on OK. To test if automation works perfectly and that it will create our client's folder, and then get our onboarding checklist and create a shareable link of our checklist, I'll run automation. On Monday, I'll change one of our clients' status to onboard. You can see right here that we triggered our webhook after we changed the status of one of our clients to onboard. We got their data right here, then we created a specific folder of the client to our Google Drive. Then we got the onboarding checklist and we created the link for the onboarding checklist. Besides sending them the onboarding checklist, we are going to also create an invoice that we are going to send them via email. So here, I'll search for Stripe. And then on Stripe, I'm going to search for invoice. And then I'm going to click on create an invoice. On our Stripe, add your customer ID by searching for the specific customer right here. For the collection method, you can either choose charge automatically or send an invoice. If you've chosen send an invoice, here we'll add days until due. So you can say, for example, 3 days. You can also add the due dates right here. For the description, you can say content writing, and then you can add the subscription ID right here if you have one. But I'm going to choose just leave everything as is and then click on OK. Besides creating the client's folder, we can also create a Slack channel that we'll use for communication with our client. So here, I'll search for Slack, and then click on Slack. Then I'm going to click on create a channel. I'll give our channel a name. So here, I'll use the first name of our client. So you can say the first name right here, and then click on OK. And then lastly, we can create a scheduling link for them to schedule an onboarding call with us. So I'll use Calendly to send them the scheduling link. So I'll search for Calendly, then click on Calendly, and then click on create a scheduling link. For the maximum event count, I'm going to say 1. And for the event type, choose strategy session and then click on OK. So here, I'll rename this to onboarding call. And then click on OK. We can send the onboarding checklist, the invoice, and the scheduling link for the onboarding call via email. So here, I'll search for email and then click on send an email. Now, for the email address, we're going to get the email address from our Monday module right here. So we'll add the email address right here. And then the subject line could be on the lines of welcome to Lux, next steps, and onboarding checklist. And then for the content of the email, we can say hi, first name. So here we'll add their first name. Then the email could be on the lines of welcome aboard. We're excited to get started with you at Lux. To ensure a smooth onboarding process, please find everything you need below. The first thing that we are sending them is the onboarding checklist. And we're saying we've attached an onboarding checklist to guide you through each step. It outlines everything we need to gather before our kickoff call. Then here, we're going to add our onboarding checklist link, which we're going to get it from our get share link right here, and then add the link. And then the next thing that we are sending them is a Stripe invoice. We're telling them you can find the invoice for your initial payments right here. And then here we're adding the Stripe invoice link. You can add this link right here. And then the next thing that we're asking them is to schedule for an onboarding call. And we're saying to kick things off, please schedule a time that works best for you using this link. And then on Calendly, we'll add the booking URL right here. And then the rest of the email could be in the lines of, we're looking forward to diving into the project with you. Let me know if you have any questions. Best regards, Brandon at Lags Agency. And then click on OK. Now, to test if automation works perfectly, I'll run it. And then on Monday, I'll change one of our status back to intake and then change it back to onboard so we can trigger our webhook. You can see that our automation ran successfully. So here, we triggered our webhook by changing one of our clients' status to onboard. And here we're getting their data. Right here, we are going ahead and creating a folder with their specific name on our Google Drive. Then we're getting the onboarding checklist from our Google Drive. We are creating the link for the checklist using this module right here. We're then creating an invoice. We're also creating a Slack channel and sending them a scheduling link for them to schedule for an onboarding call via this email right here. This is a simple client onboarding system that you can set up right now in your agency or business to onboard clients and simplify the process of creating a folder on Google Drive, sending them the checklist, creating an invoice, creating a Slack channel, and creating a scheduling link, and sending the client the links via email. So you can set up the simple automation that simplifies and streamlines all those processes for you. If you have an automation or a system in mind that you'd like for me to create, just comment down below in the comment section. I read all the comments, and if I land on your comment and I find it intriguing, I'll come back on a future video showing you how to create the automation or system from scratch. But for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.